It's a journey that has many markers. We're born. We learn to walk. We ride a bike. We go to school. We get a car.
Hello and welcome, all you beautiful people. I'm Atlas, and today we're covering some estranged adult children / parent content, mostly from Reddit. This one is close to home for me, being an estranged child myself, and every now and again I can't help but feel the impulse to see if my experiences are similar to others, so that's what today's video is about, plus some commentary and my personal reactions to some, horror stories about terrible parents and their children's attempt at finding some peace in this chaotic world of ours. So let's begin with a longer one. Sick of relatives blaming me for my estrangement. Almost every time I go to see my grandma and my aunt, who looks after her most of the time now, my gran brings up I love that gran, it's such a nice way of saying it. Anyways though, my gran brings up my estrangement from my parents. She says the same thing every time. That it's time for me to mend the relationship with my parents. I find this extremely upsetting for two reasons. One, it implies I'm the one responsible for the relationship's breaking down. Two, she is completely ignoring my choice and agency. So far I'm loving the setup of this, and yeah, that's pretty standard, that they put it all on you, that it doesn't matter what you've been through, you're the bad one for cutting it off when it was the only way to maintain your own sanity. This happened again yesterday, and I started telling my gran the reasons why I wasn't going to get back in touch with my parents. My aunt interrupted me, I've noticed I never actually get to finish a sentence or a thought around her, to tell me she had a message from my parents for me. She said she still tells them when she's seeing me because I'm still part of the family. I did not give her permission to talk about my life with them, but, again, they seem to think they know better and that your pain and your decisions don't really matter. You're the child. You don't know what's right, even though you're a full-grown adult who's been through countless amounts of trauma, pain, and life experiences to give you the reason for doing it. But no, it doesn't matter. They know better. I didn't get a chance to tell her I didn't want the message. She said my parents say they still miss me and that they would be willing to do family therapy with me. I almost laughed. I've been in therapy for many years and will be for many more. They are the primary reason. I can't imagine anything worse than doing my therapy with them in the room. I completely agree, they'd be cutting off everything you say. Well, that didn't happen. Well, you're just making that, oh my god, can you stop blowing things out of proportion? That's not what happened, and you know it's not. Yeah, no, not okay. I am 28, you're 28. You have been an adult for 9 years in Canada, where I am. I have been NC, non-contact with my parents since I was 23. I thought that was North Carolina, it's for a second there. I did it because they wrecked my mental health as a kid. We're incredibly misogynistic, homophobic, and transphobic, and as a queer person, the only chance I have of healing and accepting myself is if I show my inner child that I no longer tolerate abusers, now that I have agency. Respect. Now, I'm cis, but I grew up with parents that really hammered home the old men don't cry, men don't show weakness, men act a certain way, and that did enough damage by itself. I can't imagine what it's like to be queer and possibly trans, they haven't said anything quite yet about that, and have that demonized by your parents. That's core to your personality, to who you are as a person. Your parents are supposed to support, not demonize you. The only reason I'm still alive is because I have developed a life on my own after their abuse and have built a network of friends who love me for who I am, not despite it. Absolutely based. Both my gran and aunt bring up the topic frequently, without any warning, without asking if it's okay to talk about it, and without ever asking me how I feel about it. It's making me so angry, and I have realized that I am sick of it. I haven't even come out to my parents or my gran as trans. There we go. Perfect. Can't imagine what that was like, because none of them would accept it. So when I visit my gran and aunt, I get misgendered all day, and it is exhausting. I can only imagine. They don't make it easy for anyone to communicate their feelings or make requests, so it's not like it would be easy to tell them. I'm trying to imagine the sheer awkwardness it would be to come out as trans when you know they're gonna immediately be like, well, no, you're not. It's just a phase. Are you sure? Why would you do this to us? Oh, God, it sends a chill down my spine. Yesterday, after spending the afternoon with them and getting ambushed by these statements, I sent my aunt a text requesting that she not relay any more messages to me from my parents. I know this isn't the ideal way to set a boundary. It's meant to be focused on my actions, not hers. I suppose the next step would be to say something like this regarding visiting her. If you bring up the topic of my parents and my estrangement, I will have to leave. Also, based, set that line clear in the sand, set actual consequences for it, and be willing to follow through. It's difficult, but you have to. It's for your own sanity. Anyway, I'm not looking for advice, just wanting to get this off my chest. I'm starting to reflect about whether I even want to spend time with these family members anymore, if I always want to get spoken to like this. Again, it's a terrible position to be put in between choosing family and your own mental health, but one of these things you absolutely can't live without, and that is your mental health. It's difficult to say there are things more important than family, but your ability to be sane and happy is more important. I'm sorry everyone out there that doesn't agree. You're free to, but you're wrong. As well as dealing with all my own feelings about the estrangement, I have to also deal with being told I should fix it, and incidentally that family gatherings have never been the same without me, and the lack of cheer is all on me. Oh my God, that is an iconic line right there. See, they start off, I imagine this is exactly how they said it to her as well. I should fix it, and incidentally that family gatherings have never been the same. They start with, oh, it's not the same, we miss you, and the lack of cheer is all on me. It's all your fault. It's not the same, we miss you, but it's your fault. You need to change, it's not us. Oh, you're hurting us, why are you hurting us? We don't care that we hurt you, why are you hurting us? Yeah, no. This person is absolutely right for considering it, and even I would say do it. I'll take that step and say, yeah, step away, be free, be yourself, find happiness. Like you said, you've already got friends who love you for who you are. Cherish them. They are your new family. I will be your new father. I'm proud of you. Your gran and aunt are flying monkeys.
You see Hoover Street here, officials say it's one of the most dangerous streets in all of Los Angeles. And now,
If your dad was a shite parent to you, would you give him the opportunity to be a grandparent to your son? I haven't seen my dad in 5 years. He didn't come out when I had my thyroid removed. He didn't come out when I had my son 9 weeks ago. My therapist said during my childhood he was neglectful, he was abusive. Should be a comment there, but whatever. Now I'm moving back to Washington, where all my family lives. My grandparents are getting the keys to my new place tomorrow. They're bending over backwards to do everything in their power to help me with my move. My grandma's watching my son on my first office day. Okay, right off the bat, if you haven't seen him, then it makes sense he doesn't know that's happening, but he should still put the effort in. A parent should be there, so it's kind of like on the fence here. It makes sense he doesn't know, but he should know. My dad lives in the same state. Okay, yeah, there's more reason for him to know, but like 3 hours away. That's not that far when it comes to like a whole state, but anyways. He has not offered to meet me and help me drive. He has not offered to help me unpack when I get there. I'm really struggling. Do I let him be around my son? My mom's mom, my mom's mom, that's what it's supposed to be, was a horrible parent to her, but is really good grandma to me. Do I give my dad that same opportunity? I don't know. I'm just stressed, and what my dad said to me this morning really triggers me. And yeah, that's the end. It doesn't say what the dad said. Wait. So the grandmother was horrible to your mother? But she's good to you? Oh, geez. Okay, there's a thing. What's the scene? Insert Sonic 3 scene here.
Oh! Grandchildren. All the fun and none of the responsibility.
See, the line has a good point. Grandchildren. All of the fun but none of the responsibility. Where grandparents aren't responsible for the kids that their children have legally, unless they have adopted you directly. So they can kind of skirt the boundaries of what good parenting is. And generally don't feel that the grandkids reflect back on them the same way that parents do. Like my mother, her idea of parenting was just getting me to do things so that she could look better, so that she could parade me around to her friends and be like, look how good of a parent I am. Look how good he is and behaved he is. Doesn't that mean I'm such a good person when in reality she didn't actually give a single crap about me? Like, here's a story. Back when I was young, I think it was like grade 1 or 2 here in Ontario, Don't ask me how, but the school figured out that I wasn't very good at brushing my teeth, I can probably imagine how. And they sent me and my mom to this health facility to meet a dentist who could show me proper dental hygiene, brushing technique. You know, the good stuff. But we go in, I was actually having a great time. The dentist was super polite, super fun. He made me feel welcome, didn't make me feel bad. He showed me all the good techniques. I left with a smile on my face and a skip in my walk. But the moment we got out of that facility, my mom, I don't want to say screamed, but made me feel horrible, and specifically said that she felt so embarrassed. Which I kind of get it, but like, that's not how you talk to your kid. You don't make it about you. She should have been supportive to me and actually looked into helping me get better at brushing my teeth, which she never did. All she did was tell me how embarrassing it was and then forget the whole situation happened, making me never forget it and feel like crap from that point on. So there's a lot of back and forth in this one. God, I don't think you should really be giving the grandmother the opportunity, depending on how your mom feels about it. You're not mentioning your mom in this, so I'm guessing she's not a part of your life as much. There's a lot of stuff that's left kind of like ambiguous about this. No. That said, I'm child-free. If I weren't child-free, neither of my parents would have access to my children. I wouldn't abuse my children like that. Yeah, I can understand this one a little bit more. It's straight to the point. Children. I don't know why I can't take my eyes off that, but it's exactly how I really feel about this. Like, if your grandmother was bad to your mother, then it makes sense that she would do the same thing to your kids. What's really stopping her? Especially since she has less responsibility. Personally, I wouldn't. Obviously, it's your call, but I would be extremely uncomfortable allowing my child around someone who abused me. For the simple fact, I would always be worried they treat my child in a similar way. Boom, right there. Yes, exactly. Even if it was less severe, I'd still be much happier to exclude the abuser from my child's life. I don't have children, so I'm speaking hypothetically, but even thinking about it in my own situation makes me go, hell no, no way. Good luck. I'm sure this was an agonizing decision. I cannot speak. Stay strong! ! ! ! ! ! ! Completely agree. This is probably the most down-to-earth, straightforward answer I could ask, and I wouldn't change a word of it. Thumbs up. Okay, we got a bit of a longer one here. 13 years estranged with 2 kids of my own who have no contact with their missing grandparent. I feel I'm going to agree with this one. I really do understand your struggle. You don't want to deprive your child of a relationship with a loving grandparent, but you also want to keep your child safe from the abuses you experienced. I have a few thoughts. So do I, before I get to the rest of this. Grandparent doesn't have to be blood. You can have an older influence in their lives that isn't literally your blood grandparents. It can just be that older person who is caring, but not the parents directly. You know what I'm trying to say. It doesn't have to be the blood ones. You're not necessarily depriving them of grandparents unless you never let them around people who could fill the role of grandparents. 1. You are 9 weeks postpartum. Your hormones are still in overdrive, and you probably haven't slept the night in months. That's actually incredibly true. I didn't even think about that. It sounds like you are also in the middle of a move and job change. That is a lot of stress. Wait until things settle down before deciding what is best. You don't have to make any decisions today. A rushed decision is a bad idea? I'm assuming that's supposed to be. 2, your dad is not entitled to a relationship with your kids. He was terrible to you. Will he treat his grandchildren the same way he treated his own children? Hallelujah, everyone is on the same page. Maybe. What harm are you willing to risk to find out? Damn, they worded that very nicely. 3, it sounds like you and your baby have a loving family and support system in place. Your baby is surrounded by people who love him. Do you think your baby would be missing out if your father isn't in the baby's life? Good question. I'm leaning towards a no, but it could be a yes. No contact is just a trendy thing to do. So this is not my post, but in the Nextdoor app, actually never heard of that myself, where I think they know they will get the most sympathy, is a group of estranged parents responding to a post. Talking points include, no contact is trendy, they'll regret it one day, cut off their inheritance, write a newspaper article, and mostly, they did nothing wrong and gave them life. So I wonder what you think. I get red flags, but maybe you think she really is innocent. I'm curious. Oh, this is going to be gold. I can already tell, not innocent, but we're going to indulge anyways. When you have children, you raise them to be good and respectful. You do not expect them to grow up and treat the very person who gave them life in the first place like my son now treats me. It just ends there. Okay, I'm just going to assume that she meant to say bad. I'm assuming she here. I have, or used to have, 2 sons, one of which I haven't seen for the last 6 years. The last time I saw him, he had 4 children. Now he has 6 children, no space. The youngest 2 I have never met, comma, no space, even though he lives only a short distance away from me. He stopped talking to me after a disagreement over my dogs. Somehow I imagine it's a little bit more than that. That might have just been the final bit of weight that broke the camel's back, if you know what I mean. I was having trouble with someone who didn't like them, and who had threatened me. The police said that I should record any incidents on my phone for evidential purposes. Oh wow, she actually spelled that correctly. When I tried to do this, my son stopped me, but allowed the other person to record me. I told him what the police had said. He hadn't spoken to me since. I told him what the police had said. He hasn't spoken to me since. There we go. Even though that's not an I. That's, oh my goodness. Oh, my brain. Even though I really miss him and my grandchildren, I no longer know how to contact him. My other son hasn't spoken to me in just over 2 years. He used to help me out whenever I needed him. Oh, wow. Both sons. They both just suck. Yeah, both your sons are just bad people. It's not you. Don't worry, you're fine. You're the common denominator in all of this, but don't worry, it's fine. Then he met someone. They had 2 children together, my grandchildren, and my grandchildren? A bit possessive there, don't you think? And everything was fine in the beginning, until they got married. I haven't seen him since. I know his now wife didn't get along with her mother, and I think she had something to do with him no longer speaking to me. Yeah, of course, it was her that came between you and your son, definitely. I have had threatening text messages sent to me, calling me some very nasty names, supposedly from him. You don't even believe it was... You think she grabbed the phone, pretended to be your son, and then sabotaged the relationship like he wouldn't find out, and if it wasn't him, wouldn't be upset? Oh, my brain! My brain! The only problem is that his spelling has never been good. Oh, the irony. That my son has never used in his life before, comma, period. The sentence doesn't even make sense. I don't know what has been said to him, but he doesn't speak to me anymore, even crossing the road when he sees me. Oh, that is awkward. You 2 live in the same city and run into each other? It is incredibly upsetting to me because I know I have done nothing wrong. I just wish I could see them again and my grandchildren, but I fear it will never happen. Yeah, you're just nothing wrong at all. I love the absolute self-confidence of that. Like, I almost want to respect it, but it's not worth respecting. It's kind of disgusting, actually. Edit. I've had it with these people. Some actual comments. That's life. Can you imagine holding your tiny baby in your arms and later in life they become a cold-blooded murderer? Jesus crikey, mate, that's a little much. It does happen. You have done your best, and no parent is perfect. None of us are. We are all learning by mistakes, year in and year out. I added "and" in there to make it sound a little better. One day they will regret it. Unfortunately, your grandchildren will do as they are told. There is so much spite, like dripping in venom. Oh my God. I'm getting like infected just by reading that. I really feel for you, even if you have done something to upset them both. You are their mother. They should forgive and move on, just as we mothers do for our children. Yeah, a lot of these seem like you're not moving on. It kind of seems like you're focusing on the past here. I am sure they love you, but are so busy with their lives, though no excuse to keep grandchildren away. Closing bracket, but no opening bracket. I'm sure in time they'll get in touch. Probably not. I'm very sorry to hear that. Children must obey their parents, not speak harshly to them, and address them with kind words. Okay, there's a difference between respect and obedience. They are not the same. Respect is, well, respect. Obedience is doing what you're told without questioning. I can respect someone but disagree with them. I can respect someone but say, no, I'm not going to do what you ask. They're not the same thing. Unfortunately, often what you teach your children nowadays just gets abused and disrespected when they leave the home, even in most school environments. You could go back to school. I think this is a tragedy of modern times. I grew up in a family where elders were given great respect. It wasn't just the parents raising the children. Grandparents, uncles, and aunties played a big role in our upbringing. Children growing up used to be more closer to their grandparents than their own parents. I don't think that's a great sign either, to be honest with you. I think the parent should be... whatever. But now it's only parents and the screen that's bringing them up. I wonder if that's the parents' fault for just not wanting to parent their kids and putting them in front of a screen because they are just too lazy to do anything else. Nowadays, in school, there is more focus on me, and me. Family values are not being taught at school how they used to be taught in olden times. Yeah, because it's not your job to do that. Because schools teach kids to be selfish. They don't teach them, math, English, algebra, science. No, it's all about how to disrespect your parents, Disrespecting your parents 101. We do that from first grade all the way up to 8th grade. I got an A+. I was really good. You are not the only one. There are so many grandparents who are ripped off from their rights of seeing their grandchildren. Ripped off from their rights. Oh, my brain. You don't have a right to the grandchildren. No, ripped off. What do you mean ripped off? It's not a deal that you are... That makes me feel gross. Okay, here is a good one. This one is perfectly poignant to the whole conversation and something you hear a lot of from estranged parents, that they blame the therapist that their child is seeing. Oh, my child sees a therapist, so the therapist must have told them that I'm a terrible parent, and that's why they estranged. It's the therapists. It's some kind of war on parents. You'll see that a lot in estranged parent videos, not estranged child videos. Anyways, if you went to therapy, did your therapist tell you to cut your family/parents out of your life? Title. I'm not sure why that starts with title, but we'll move on. Consider this to be a survey poll. Oh, never mind. I don't believe it to be the norm that therapists are the bad guy here. I don't believe it to be common at all. Neither do I. But the current narrative is that estranged adult kids are being brainwashed by therapists to go no contact. So I figured I'd post this for the crowd so everyone can say what their therapist actually told them. Thank you. This is an incredibly useful post. As you can tell, 223 comments. It got some traction. My therapist is the one who helped me realize how toxic my relationship with my mom was, just by asking me questions about my life. And he didn't tell me to go no contact, but told me that I had to determine how I wanted to deal with the relationship. Sounds like an incredibly perfect therapist. It's not their job to tell you objective facts. It's just their job to get you to look at things in a different perspective, to change how you think about things, get an outside view. I was already no contact when I sought out a therapist. Another incredibly poignant thing. Many estranged children do the estrangement before they seek a therapist. It's only afterwards they realize they actually need the therapist because now they have to, what would be a good word? Decouple from the trauma, the abuse, the horrible ways of thinking they've had hammered into their head over potentially decades from abusive parents. I knew shit wasn't right. I just didn't have the language to describe it correctly. Perfect. Love it. 91 upvotes. Completely agree. I would upvote that if we were on Reddit right now. No. She helped me see how my relationship with my mom was not just abusive in the past, but still actively harming me. I came to the conclusion that estrangement was best. She never brought it up. Boom. Again. Perfect. No. But her reactions, while I tell her about my experiences, definitely helped me not feel crazy for having done it anymore. They had already estranged by the time they spoke with a therapist. I love being right. I love it. It's tasty. I'm a psychotherapist. Oh, perfect. Absolutely perfect. And been one for about 20 years. That is a long frickin' time. My role is to hold space for a patient, help them in terms of seeing things in ways that are not through the lens of trauma, and also go at their pace. Oh, the validation I feel right now. I would never tell them to go no contact. What I would talk about is attachment, boundaries, self-care, dysregulation, and how to strengthen interpersonal skills. And it's a deeply personal choice. Yeah, it is. Going no contact with your parents, which inadvertently leads to almost having no choice but to go no contact with the rest of your family too is difficult. Imagine for a second if you're not an estranged parent or estranged child listening to this, where you just didn't have a family anymore. How alone that feels. How cut off from even like the larger world that feels, to where other people, they have families. Holidays are the worst, I can tell you that right now. They have families, they have support networks that you just don't have anymore. Even if it was toxic, it was still something, you know? You're still better off without it, but it's not an easy decision and it should never be taken lightly. And here we have a text message chain that is, I think, over a long period of time, because the first one is from December 29th, 2022, and then it jumps to Friday, October 10th, which I'm assuming would be 2023, but then it continues on with yesterday and yesterday, which that could be even further ahead. It's not the next year, but we're talking a full year between the first and the last message potentially here. Anyways, though, hi, blank. I just wanted to reach out and ask if blank would visit with me. I'm assuming the daughter or the son. I know you would give her a choice and that she doesn't want to. Daughter, I was hoping to see if she'd like to go get an eye doctor visit and contacts if she doesn't already have them. If neither of you feel comfortable with that, I totally understand. That feels like a weird thing. Like you're not like, hey, I'd like to spend some time with them, maybe go to the park, have some fun. No, you want to take them to the eye doctor? I guess it's nice that you're concerned about their vision, but like, I don't think that's the way to mend, trauma or problems from the past. You want to have like some kind of fun? I don't know, maybe it's just me. Anyways, thank you for the offer. Blank went to the eye doctor recently, so she is all set. Alrighty then. I will say she wasn't rude in the first message, but definitely a kind of like sympathy play. Don't play into it. Know that it's a bit of a play. Don't give them what they want. And then it continues in Friday, October 10th, which is almost a year later, which is a massive amount of time. It seems like the mother, the grandmother, I guess in this case, just couldn't let it go. Hi, no spaces. I was wondering if we could talk. And then again, an indescribable amount of time goes by. Hi, blank. I was calling because we were having major issues with the car, and they are asking for information only you would know. Can you please call or respond here, please? What would your son or daughter know about your car that you don't? It's been a year. How do you not know these things? Is this blank's phone? If not, can you please tell me so I won't bother anymore? This is her mom. That's actually really just sad. A valid concern, because like you don't know if like they still have the number or not, but the hint, catch it. My children will get privacy from me when they can pay their own bills and feed themselves. Until then, you do what I say. Ain't shit negotiable. We're not friends. I haven't spoken to my mother in 10 years. Welcome to your future. I don't understand how parents think that they can just take away the rights of their kids just because they are legally responsible for them. No, you can't just not feed your kid and force them into the streets. That is neglect. That is abuse. That is a crime. It is more than just, oh, I'm doing good parenting by not letting my kids starve and die. No, that's the bare minimum. Society can do that. You're not needed for that. You're needed for parenting, for emotional support. Ain't shit negotiable. We're not friends. Okay, I'm not saying parents should be friends with their kids, but you should not be some kind of king figure to your kids. That's just not right. And the irony that these parents won't even give adult children privacy. As we've seen throughout this whole thread, that privacy thing is just, they see it as an insult, as like tramping on their quotations rights as parents to know every detail and to be involved in every aspect of their child's lives, even if their child is 45 freaking years old. Yeah, welcome to your future. You're just not going to have kids around and you're going to be making posts on these exact websites going, why won't my kid talk to me? I never did anything wrong except take away their privacy and hold the, food and then shelter over their heads every day of their life. It's so tiring. It really is. I knew the feeling. It was the same thing where it was, oh yeah, because I'm feeding you and I'm putting a roof over your head, you owe me your life. But we're going to end the video here. It's been enough of a heavy topic. And to any estranged children listening to this, no, you are not alone. There are resources out there available to you. Don't be afraid to use them. Don't be afraid to talk to a therapist. Don't be afraid to reach out. But thank you for listening to the video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy the content, drop me a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. It'll help me a lot more than you think. Be prepared for more content in the future and hopefully ones that aren't such a heavy topic. This is Atlas signing out.
And today it has many markers. We're born. learn to walk. We ride a bike. We go to school. We get a car.